Hey, what is up guys, it's VinitDesigns here with a brand new tutorial. We are back in action. So today we are going to be designing this UI bullseye card. So you'll be able to use this on a website, for example. So I'll show you how to design this in Adobe XD. It's pretty easy to do. All we're doing is using basic shapes. Pretty quick to do, and I'll show you how to do it. So let's go down here and create some artboards. So let's go to the artboard tool on the left tool panel right here, and let's select the iPhone X and XS size, and we can start off with this here, and let's create the success one first. And as you can see on the left side, I already have some colors chosen, and I'll show you the hex codes as I apply them, so you can use the same ones if you want. But let's create the background first. So let's use the rectangle tool to drag out a rectangle like this, and then we can just fit it into the artboard. And let's disable the border on the right side of the panel. The first color I'll be using is this dark, or this light gray. It's kind of lightish. It has a bit of a blue hue in it, and the hex code is the following: 363941, and you can use that if you want. Now let's create the cut down here, and we can use the circle tool to create like a mask, and then we'll cut it out. So let's just create a big circle so that we can create a mask and then cut out this portion. So make sure you center this and position it however you want, maybe somewhere around here. And then what I want to do is make a duplicate of the background. So select it, hit Control or Command C, and then Command or Control V on your keyboard, and then bring it down. So hit Control or Command left bracket on your keyboard, or you can actually go into the layers panel and then just drag it down like that, so that it's a little bit easier to see where you're placing it. And then select the second rectangle we created and the ellipse, then go to the top right, and you can see this I guess Pathfinder. The tools are similar to what you can find in Adobe Illustrator. So the one we want to use is subtract, and then there we go. So you don't really notice a difference right now, but there is actually a shape right here that we want to change the color of. So let's go back to our assets panel and choose a darker color for this portion of our design. So this is the second color I used, and you can copy the hex code if you want. It's 1B1D22, and you can copy that. And now let's get into the actual fun bullseye part. So this is pretty cool. It's very simple, but it's pretty cool. So let's use the circle tool, click and drag out a circle like this, and hold Shift and Alt on your keyboard, or Option on your keyboard, to constrain the proportion like that. And then, like, I don't know, position it somewhere there. And we can make it a little bigger, maybe something like that. Then duplicate the circle, so Command C or Control C, Control V on your keyboard. There's a lot of shortcuts, but it's easier to learn the shortcuts. And then just drag it down like this, hold Alt and Shift on your keyboard, and maybe somewhere around there. We can play around with the size after, but just keep doing this for a few more steps, and then duplicate it a few more times. Something like that. You can play with the size and make it perfect if you want, but that's pretty good so far. And then we can just select them, and let's disable the border for them. Now let's add some color. So let's select the second inner circle and then add this light green color, and I'll show you the hex code for that, ABE890. And then let's do the same thing for this one like that. And then the inside one, we're going to make it a bit more darker and bright, something like that. And then I can show you the color for that too, 7CD853. And then there we go. That's pretty much it. We have this bullseye circle, and if you want, we can group it. So Control or Command G, and let's go to the layers panel, and then we can rename it to bullseye. So now we can go ahead and add the text for this design, and we can use the text tool, come down here, click, and I'm going to be using Roboto Bold, and the size for this around 36, 37, around there should be okay. And then we can type out success. And the great thing about Adobe XD's new update is, I mean, it's been there for a while, but now you don't have to type out in caps lock anymore. You can just use the uppercase button right here, and there you go. Now it's in uppercase. And the last thing we need to create is a button. So we can just type continue, and then again use the caps lock or uppercase button to make it all caps. And the size for this, we want to reduce it. 36 is a bit too big, maybe 20 should be okay. And then let's add a button behind it so that it's easier to see. And we can use the rectangle tool for that. Click and drag out a rectangle. Make sure it's in the center. You can make it a little wider or longer if you want. And then push it back. So again, you can use Control or Command left bracket on your keyboard to push it down. Or you can use the layers panel to drag it down below the text. And right now we can't see the text, and that's because the rectangle and the text is the same color, but we can fix that by changing the rectangle background color to the green color. So we can use this color or the light one, but I prefer the darker one because you can actually see the text better. And one more thing is to round out the corners. You can keep it sharp corners if you want, but in UI design sometimes it's easier to, or it's better to use rounded corners because it's more obvious for the human eye to recognize that it's a button. But let's just go ahead and make this a bit more rounder. So we can just add 50 there, and there we go. Now we have this UI design pretty much done, and you can group this button. And now to create the error version, it's very simple. All we're gonna do is duplicate this artboard by hitting Control or Command D on your keyboard. All we're gonna do is change the color. So let's go to our assets panel, and you can see that there's a red, two different red options. So the first one is this light red color, and you can use the hex. It's so small on my screen, but it's E46B6B. And then we can apply that again to the second one, and the inside one, remember it's a bit darker, so it's a more vivid red, and if the hex code for that is DE4040. It's looking pretty cool so far. Now we just gotta change the text, and for this is an error, so let's say error, and then for the button we can say try again. Nice. And the button may be a bit too small, but it's fine for the tutorial. It's okay, you can play around with it, and hopefully you guys learned something new today, and you can apply this in many different UI designs for landing pages, app designs, and it's a very simple process. So hopefully you guys learned something new and had some fun doing it. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be creating a lot more content, some pretty cool website designs, mobile applications, and even some other graphic design related tutorials. So if you love illustration, maybe I'll create some logo designs and illustrations. And if you're a fan of gaming and Twitch live streaming, I create content around Twitch packages and templates. So you can also download those if you want, and check out my self-help page. So before we end the tutorial, I forgot to change the button color for the error. I kept it green and then I ended the video, but I'm back. You might notice like a flip between the outro and intro, but it's okay. Just remember to change the button color to the red, unless you want to confuse people. But yeah, let's just change it to this red, and there we go. Now it's done. And just remove the borders as well, like I missed here. And it should be looking a lot better. There we go. It's finally. Thank you for watching. That was actually a perfect example of error and success. I made an error in this tutorial, but you know what? That's a process of design. You make mistakes, and then you just gotta refine and clean it up. And yeah, there we go. So anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Bye.